Welcome to this live premiere with this Disney platform fighting game idea. Just a what if scenario, and I heard rumors about this supposed to be happening with Disney domination, but look how long it's been. We haven't seen it, no trailer or anything else. And I think people already made their own Disney platform fighting rosters from a while back when those rumors started coming out. So I wanted to make my own as something different just to keep the channel spicy. You don't have to watch the full premiere or watch the full video. The timestamps are going to be listed in the description for everybody to click on to whatever you want to listen to from different points of the video. We're going to get into DLC, guest characters, and so much more. But the first thing I'm going to start with is the base roster, and this isn't the base roster as you can see on the screen. It's just something for display purposes and design purposes for some of you guys, for something for you guys to look at and chime in for some of y'all favorite worlds. I put this roster based on the characters I would like to see. It's so many characters. It's way too many characters to be able to get into this game, and they have tons of characters that they own. Disney owns Marvel. Disney owns Star Wars now, and there's so much has changed ever since. So now they can definitely get a lot of these characters to be able to get into the game. So this isn't the base roster. This is just a taste of what the roster can look like with some of these different worlds that I want to touch upon. And from these different worlds, from the games like Kingdom Hearts, I definitely want to see Sora get into the game, and I would love him to be able to run into some of these characters and more. So we're going to get into the base roster first, and everything from the roster of the characters that I pick will be in the description that y'all can scroll through if you just want to close it out. If you don't want to listen in and lurk, you don't have to, and you could just watch as much as you want to for this video. And you can also chime in and share some of the characters that you would want to see get into this game. I also went as far as going into the Disney Channel characters because people don't really talk about those characters as much. And we got games like Disney Speedstorm out there that already exist with some of these characters that they already have added together in a giant crossover sort of racing game with crossplay, which is fun to play still to this day. But they have a lot of different characters now. They recently added the Nightmare Before Christmas season for this brand new season. For I think is it season 8? I haven't really been keeping up with it, but Jack Skellington, Oogie Boogie, Sally, and the Professor is also playable with some of the newest characters that they added for the Halloween season for Disney Speedstorm. With that game in existence, some of those characters that y'all already know of, they are already in Disney Speedstorm, like Woody, Mike, and Sulley from season 1, and then Toy Story was season 2, Lilo and Stitch was season 3, and then so on and so forth. They got all those characters in the game already. You know, Mickey Mouse is obviously there, and then they already did the Frozen season thing with Princess Elsa, Anna, and so many other characters that's in the game and more. So we're going to get into the base roster. This is just something, just a little bit of a taste of some of the worlds that I have added for my roster. And a little over 50 characters. It's hundreds of characters that can get into this game. What if Disney Speedstorm made a platform fighting game? How many characters do you think it'll have for base roster? It's definitely going to be way over 25 characters, which I wanted to start with a base roster at first. But Disney has so many iconic characters now, and they already own Marvel and Star Wars. Just like I mentioned, this game can be huge, and some of these characters might even have a chance to show up in multiverses, like Mickey Mouse, for example, if possible. So we want to just get into the base roster. We got Mickey Mouse, we got Sora, Woody, Miss Incredible, aka Elastigirl. We got Rapunzel, we got Lightning McQueen, Princess Elsa, a duo like Phineas and Ferb. I wanted to go as far as Disney Channel because people don't. It's so many memorable characters from Disney Channel that have not got into Disney Speedstorm yet. They can bring those characters into a platform fighting game, and a duo like Phineas and Ferb, I think a lot of people will be interested in playing and picking up as mains. What's some of the characters that you guys would main? You guys can share and talk about it during the live premiere or in the live comments for the video itself, to share some of the characters that you will want to see for this game and some of your wish lists if you want to, or maybe it's one particular character you're looking for. So Luke Skywalker for Star Wars, I wanted to also add in, and then I went with Venom from the Spider-Man series. Also, I did get some other Marvel characters in the mix, but this is just what you guys can see on the screen for now. So let's get into the other characters that y'all can't see on the screen for this display, for this designer purposes for y'all for this live premiere. Buzz Lightyear, I also wanted to pick up and add from the Toy Story series. We got Spider-Man, I also included Mulan. Let's other Disney movies in other different worlds. Mulan, Beast from Beauty and the Beast, or the Beast himself. He's already in Disney's Beast Store. Mulan also. Disney channels. Kim Possible, she has a lot of fighter potential, and I definitely would love to see her get into this game. A lot of people would be interested in her as well to get in as a fighter. Hercules and Hades. So I did 2 reps with some of these worlds. Hercules and Hades that I decided to go with. Lion King's Simba and Scar. 2 separate characters. And then Little Mermaid, I was going to add Ariel, but I didn't. I went with Ursula, and with her, she's going to have Floatsam and Jetsam at her age, though, so she'll be able to command and control Floatsam and Jetsam for different commands and different sort of moves. I think she's going to definitely be unique because of Floatsam and Jetsam. They'll each also have their unique abilities and really be some troubles and cause some trouble on the battlefield, and Floatsam and Jetsam can distract you. Just like she has played as a boss in Kingdom Hearts, Floatsam and Jetsam was constantly getting up and being able to revive themselves or res themselves after a certain amount of time. And in the original Kingdom Hearts, if you played it, Ursula and had Floatsam and Jetsam being a constant nuisance in the battle because they would continuously be able to revive themselves, and Ursula would bring them back during the boss fight. So you will always have to continuously take them down to make sure that you can always focus the party and you could be able to focus your attacks on Ursula. So I think she was a better pick over Ariel. Ariel can definitely be a playable character as well, but I just didn't put her in my base roster over Ursula to be able to play as Floatsam and Jetsam at her age. Aladdin's Jafar, and Aladdin, of course, Aladdin and Jafar, and I put Genie. I didn't put Genie in here because I wanted Genie to be a part of Aladdin's moveset so he can grant certain wishes with Aladdin to help him out on the battlefield. So that'll definitely make him unpredictable because you never know what he's going to probably end up wishing for. Those certain wishes are going to be able to make Aladdin stronger and be able to take more hits on the battlefield. I think he could play like that. I went Big Hero 6, Baymax. Nightmare Before Christmas's Jack Skellington and Oogie Boogie, 2 different reps. I wanted to add Tarzan, but I went with the crazy vicious Saber. I thought he would be a good pickup. I don't see many people bring him up. Saber is another good character from Tarzan that was a lot of trouble in the movie, really trying to hunt Tarzan down. I wanted to also add Clayton with his shotgun. He could be a playable character too, but I went with Saber as 1 rep from Tarzan. Maleficent, we needed more villains to get up in here to spice it up a little bit. It's not too many villains so far, but Maleficent was a pick that I wanted to add. I think she's super powerful. She definitely belongs in this game. Anybody remember the American Dragon Jake Long? I also added him. The all-powerful and wise Yen Sid. Yen Sid can definitely be in this game. Chernabog for another iconic, powerful villain. The devil himself, you know what I mean? Wreck-It Ralph can be tanky. So I added Wreck-It Ralph, a nice tank and a nice strong character. Darkwing and Donald Duck can be in the game as well. So I wanted to add another Mickey Mouse rep. So Mickey is not in here by himself. Donald can have like a temper tantrum, and he can definitely have like a rage meter with his fighter kit. With his kit and with his rage, it can make him strong because Donald Duck he's such a hothead. So he'll definitely be able to get into this game and really be vicious on him by himself to be another force. Another good character that can be able to cause trouble on the battlefield. Stitch, I went with solo, as y'all can already see on the screen. Gaston, flexing his muscles. I think he'll be strong, but he'll be really slow on the field. I went with Captain Jack Sparrow or Jack Sparrow. Mona's Maui. Dr. Facilier, the witch doctor himself. Baloo, because he's tanky. And then I wanted to mix in some other characters from Peter Pan's world. So I went with Peter Pan and Captain Hook. and didn't want to just make this just for the Avengers, or well, without the Avengers, the original Avengers to get in. Since y'all can already see Marvel's Venom already on the screen, I wanted to add the other Avengers, Iron Man, Hulk, Captain America, and Thor, to really be able to add on to this roster. They definitely belong into the base roster, all those Avengers and iconic characters for those heroes. Another Star Wars character I wanted to add, I didn't want to just go with Luke Skywalker by himself for the base roster. I went with Darth Vader himself as the perfect tribute to really get into this game. He can definitely be able to shine. And Luke Skywalker not having to deal with Darth Vader, I think that would be a crime in itself. He can be able to go head to head with Darth Vader in the battlefield as well in the base roster. He could be an unlockable character. But not all these characters are going to be unlocked right off the bat. The players can just be able to play the game to unlock some of these characters, so they can be able to unlock them, and they're not going to just be available right off the bat. They can earn the characters from playing the game and being active and doing certain things and completing certain modes or playing as certain characters like an adventure mode or story mode. I'm going to get into that later on, to be able to unlock these characters so they're not just available right off the bat. So everybody can just be able to unlock more characters. The final few characters to complete the base roster, I went with Doug Funny, or basically his alter ego, Quailman, where he unlocks his heroism and his hero potential. And I think Quailman could possibly be DLC. Maybe he won't be base roster if they don't decide to add him right away. Doug is now part of Disney, who used to be part of Nickelodeon. And they're still not doing anything with his characters, which is really surprising. So I didn't want to leave him out. I wanted to add him in this roster, even or whether or not he becomes DLC or maybe base roster. But I put him in the base roster. He could possibly be a secret unlockable character in the game that they can do to surprise the fans and the players. So Quailman, I wanted to add him, and then a final character to complete the base roster, Thanos himself, can really try to cause some havoc on the battlefield and really try to balance the world. You know what I mean? What he was trying to really do, that balance what he was seeking, he can definitely be able to try to attempt that same goal with this sort of kind of game, with Thanos being a playable character. So that completes the base roster. And the one thing that I didn't want to do is just leave it there. Well, that's the base roster. That's it for the video. I didn't want to do it that way. I wanted to do a little bit more. And the one thing that I noticed to challenge myself, I wanted to go above and beyond by mentioning more fighters that could have that fighter potential. Honorable mentions. I never done honorable mentions. Even when I was making these other rosters and wish lists for these other characters for different games, I never done honorable mentions. So I think this is a game that has so many characters that has a ton of honorable mentions that people might not even think about, or they might just forget about and leave them on the sidelines and not even include them in this kind of game. So honorable mentions, we're going to get into that today. So I just went a little bit over 10 characters. I think, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4. Just about 10, a little bit over 10, if you're probably going to include, if you count the duos. A little bit over 10 different characters for honorable mentions with fighter potential. It's a lot of characters that I didn't even mention yet that can get into this game. So let's get into the honorable mentions. I went with Rafiki from Lion King because he has a lot of potential. He can summon and communicate with the dead and dead kings. He has some serious mojo. He can be able to, cast some different spells and chant. He can really have the undead at his side and at his aid to be able to help him out in the fight. Rafiki can really be able to cause some trouble from the Lion King. People don't bring this character up, so I thought maybe he could be a character that deserves to have that honorable mention title. He can also get in as DLC, and these characters can be DLC. We're going to get into that in a little while too, going towards the end. Another Mickey Mouse character that I just left out was Goofy. he can be an honorable mention, a character that made it to my list for honorable mentions because he's been through so much and he's been through the fire. He's fallen so many times from great heights. And I think he can definitely be a playable character too. Goofy shouldn't be DLC. He could definitely be base roster. He could be one of the most unpredictable characters in the game because he's just going to be that way from his character. So one thing that I wanted to do was that he's an honorable mention because if you play Kingdom Hearts, he was knocked out for a while. He wasn't a playable character. He wasn't someone that wasn't really getting the spotlight like that because it's Mickey Mouse's world and he's Disney's mascot. But he's always been there to really help out Mickey Mouse and just he'll show up and he's such a support character. He's a support character. And just going back to the Kingdom Hearts sort of scenario, he was knocked out and he wasn't able to help Sora A, but he was willing to sacrifice himself just for the greater good and to keep everyone safe. And he's taken so many just bad shots and so many blows just with so many different things that he's been through. He definitely deserves to be a playable character in this game. But I wanted to add him as an honorable mention because he doesn't really get that kind of spotlight like Mickey Mouse does, Mickey and Donald. So if anything, I think Mickey and Donald would get the spot most likely over Goofy because he just doesn't get that kind of spotlight like that. So I definitely hope that he gets in base roster and just go from there. But let's get into some other reps from Disney Channel and other characters that people would also like to see. I went with Luz from the Owl House. I think she's going to be a really popular character where people might be interested in. She could be DLC also, so I added her into my honorable mentions as well. She can use her magic and be able to create glyphs. Imagine that as fighter potential. I already talked about magic and being able to communicate with the dead with Rafiki, and then Dr. Facilier, he's also already going to be in the game also. But just so many other characters, Luz is going to have her own abilities, and these glyphs are going to be able to probably bind the enemy. It'll keep you, she'll be able to immobilize you and be able to stun you, and she could be able to just have her way and be able to combo you and just be able to knock you out right off the bat with those glyphs that she could probably be able to summon on the field to be able to have you in this sort of kind of spell binding circle or something like that. It'll be cool to see that. Dave the Barbarian, people don't talk about him. He's a different silly version of Hercules. He looks just like Hercules. If you haven't seen Dave the Barbarian from Disney Channel, he loves to eat, but it'll be funny to see him in as a real character and be playable. I would definitely pick him up, and I would love to see Dave the Barbarian run into Hercules because they look like each other, but he's just different and he's much more silly, and he's not a character that you would take seriously over someone like Hercules. That's a real true hero that he tries to be. Brandy and Mr. Whiskers, I also went with them for honorable mentions. A cool duo beloved by most Disney fans that I think would shine well together. Brandy and Mr. Whiskers are definitely going to create sales, and people love these characters, and I grew up watching so many shows. So I think that'll be cool for a nice little additional duo. Cusco from Emperor's New Groove. I wanted to add another underrated show to this list and for this video today because many people don't bring up this show. It shows like Emperor's New Groove, like Cusco. I think he'll be another character that people will love to see. And then memorable shows again, Recess. Anybody watch Recess? I added TJ from Recess. It's one of my personal favorite shows that I grew up watching way back then on Disney Channel, and it'll be awesome to see Recess get in this game. I definitely think they're gonna pick TJ. I'm not sure about the other characters from Recess. Anybody remember? It's one of the best shows if you haven't seen it. The intro is just definitely just memorable too. I almost thought about rewatching it also. I went with Flick next. Flick from A Bug's Life, an old classic memorable character that I think belongs in this game. Flick from Bug's Life, it's just been so long. I think it was from 1997 or 1998. It's been a while. We haven't even seen much of we didn't even see a reboot for this. I'm surprised. A Bug's Life reboot. So I went with Flick from A Bug's Life. He'll be awesome to see in this game. And then another final duo to get into the honorable mentions. I went with Wally and Eve being able to play with each other. And they recently got added into Disney Speedstorm not too long ago. So I think Wally and Eve could play together and protect one another. So I think they definitely belong and deserve to get honorable mentions. And then the final one, considering its success, Inside Out, I went with Joy. So it just is for some of y'all out there. What do you guys think about Inside Out getting into this game? This is the final character for honorable mentions. So considering the success of Inside Out, I wouldn't be surprised if they would want to include one of the emotions from the movie itself, from the series. Disney would probably want to push for this sort of kind of character, or for this series for Inside Out to get some kind of representation. Maybe Anger could get in. He would probably be a better fighter. But I don't know what you guys think about that. He would probably be someone that could work better for this platform fighting game. But they can probably have all the different variety of emotions to get in between Joy and Anger. But Anger probably might have the better pick because this is a fighting game. So maybe not taking anything away from the other emotions, but I just went with Joy for now from Inside Out. Maybe Anger could work. Maybe both of them can get in, Joy and Anger together, for 2 different reps for Inside Out. So it's a successful series. So Inside Out is definitely a popular series and a movie series that's loved by fans from Disney fans worldwide. They will definitely want to add them in. So we talked about the base roster, and now we just finished talking about the honorable mentions. Now let's start talking about the features that I want to see added into this game. What would I like to see in this game from these characters? If this game becomes something real, I would definitely love to see these unique interactions for like Sora being able to run into Elsa, as you guys can see on the screen, and he's met her in Kingdom Hearts. And Sora has met quite a few characters from Kingdom Hearts, from Woody, Mike and Sulley, Mickey Mouse, because Mickey Mouse was King Mickey. He had a different role in so many different things, and being also a Keyblade wielder. So it'll be awesome to see what Sora would say to Venom. And with Spider-Man being in my roster, I can imagine the funny jokes that Spider-Man would say to Sora. What would Spider-Man say to Sora? He could probably talk about his weapon with a key. You know, it's an unordinary weapon from a fighter, a warrior, somebody running around with a keyblade. That's something different that you wouldn't see from someone that's a swordsman. Someone's using a key to fight and can defeat you with a keyblade. That's something different. Spider-Man would definitely be intrigued by that with its ability. So the characters having unique interactions for this game is something I would want the most. Outside of just all these characters getting in, unique interactions is something that I would love to see for some of these characters. And some of these fighters don't really do. Smash Bros, some of these characters don't really talk to each other. They don't really, unless the Star Fox scene or something like that. But unique interactions would be something really cool that I think will also excite the fans. It will also make the players invested in really trying to test out some of the characters to see what they say. Luke Skywalker and Sora, and maybe Luke Skywalker might even think Sora could be a Jedi. He could probably see Jedi potential in him instead of joining the dark side. You see what I'm saying with the whole darkness thing? It's just like, it's so many cool possibilities that they can bring for this title for unique interactions for this game. It'll be awesome to really see these characters really be able to meet each other. You know, just all these different worlds and these different duels. Mike and Sulley can meet Phineas and Ferb. Mike and Sulley can meet Brandy and Mr. Whiskers. It's just all that special potential that can definitely make this game one of the most successful games in history, and it'll sell well. So not just with unique interactions, I wanted to also add some different modes. So it's not just about fighting each other. It's what about a story mode? How could a story mode work for this game? A story mode with all kinds of worlds featured with unlockable characters. They can do it like they did Kingdom Hearts in a way, but you will be able to play as a certain fighter, and it could probably be some kind of main antagonist. Maybe I could try to do a story mode for this, but I'm not sure how I could probably. Who would be the main villain or the antagonist? Or maybe some of these villains could work together, but I don't want to make it, seem like Nicktoons Unite all over again. But it's so many different things that they can do. They did something really well with PlayStation All Stars with the story, and every character had a rival, but it was some kind of main antagonist that was pulling the strings, and how they ended up in this world. So I would definitely love to see some kind of story mode or adventure mode where these characters be able to meet each other and help each other out. It'll be cool to see. Because at first they won't start off as friends first. They'll see each other as foes, and because they're strangers, they don't know them. You know what I mean? They won't know each other. So that could be something that they can put together for a nice little story mode. Let's get some of these modes put into some of these games, and they can build it up from there. Bosses, I would like to see boss fights, and then items that reference different worlds. And I was thinking about the Palpu fruit from Kingdom Hearts that can get into the game. It's so many different options from these worlds, and maybe the web shooters could be a nice little item. It goes on and on, and maybe some of the items from Toy Story could be in. Maybe Slinky could be like a assist character, things like that. It's so many things that they can do with this particular game. With the items, it can have hundreds of items. Now, the last little feature that I wanted to add into this game was special mechanics where these characters can really be able to use their ultimates and things like that. I came up with a star power meter where the star power meter is going to be built by landing successful hits, and when the meter is full, each playable character can unleash their ultimate move when prompt. So you could think of it as final smashes and things like that, but this star power meter is going to be something that can pay tribute to having their own unique mechanics. And with this star power meter, I wanted to do something a little bit more as a bonus. You can be able to use your star power to not only use your ultimate ability. As a bonus, you can use your star power to break free from attacks and knock back your enemies to give you more breathing room. So if you're getting comboed to death and someone's tagging you up, and whoever you're going against, and you're having trouble against Mike and Sulley, and just trying to deal with them all at once, and maybe some other characters in the mix on the field, you can use this star power meter to break free. So something that made me think of this bonus feature for this mechanic is Dragon Ball Z Tenkaichi from way back from the PS2 era. Dragon Ball Z Tenkaichi had an explosive way that you can use to be able to push off your opponent. It was definitely helpful to help you get back into the fight and really open the door for you to get your offense and to really try to land some hits and to start up your combos. So if you're just combo fooled by your opponent, you can be able to break free. If you're using a much bigger character that might be a little bit slower, like Venom, for example, he might be slow. Wreck-It Ralph, or Ralph from Wreck-It Ralph, he might be a little bit slow, but you will be able to break free with this star power meter mechanic. So it's not just about building it up to get your ultimate. You also want to use it to protect you, and use it as not only just for offense, but something for decent defense that can really be able to protect you. So they can play around with different mechanics like that to make it a little bit more unique, because Super Smash Bros. Does not have that sort of kind of thing where you can just be able to push off your opponent like that and really be able to stop them in the middle of an attack like that. You can just be able to you'll just have to dodge or just use your shield to really try to protect you. So I think the star power meter could be a nice little mechanic. I just wanted to add something a little bit different to make it unique. Well, it's just like Super Smash Bros. They could just use shields. I just wanted to do something else with this to make it a little bit more unique. So now, last but not least, just to close this out, we're going to start talking about guest characters and DLC. It's a lot of characters that can be added. So guest characters, I wanted to just go with Final Fantasy characters because I think they're most likely to get in, all things considered. I just keep on mentioning Kingdom Hearts because Final Fantasy characters found their way in that game, and more other characters were in, and they even got into Super Smash Bros. So maybe they can get some of those other characters that's not playable, like Tifa would be nice to be in this Disney platform fighting game, and she's such a real fighter. She has a lot of great moves. They can go with Cloud, Sephiroth, and Tifa, maybe another additional from the Final Fantasy series. They don't even have to just keep picking and pulling from Final Fantasy 7. Final Fantasy in general has a lot of good characters like Titus from Final Fantasy 10 who can really be able to shine, Jet and more that can really be able to get in. Even Yuna from Final Fantasy 10 who's a summoner. So imagine her getting into the game. She has all the abilities to summon aeons. Yuna in a Disney platform fighter, she'll definitely be dangerous because she can summon all those different aeons with all the different abilities from Ifrit, Isyan, and Valfor, and many others. Bahamut, she'll be able to summon all those different aeons to really aid her in the fight. So that'll be a nice pickup to represent the Final Fantasy series. They can definitely get those kind of characters. What are some of the other guest characters that y'all want to see get into this game? Maybe they can probably get Timmy Turner, possibly, maybe, but I don't know. Since he has a little bit of some Disney stuff going on for him, they could definitely probably get about almost anybody because Disney just got it like that. Because they own Marvel and they own Star Wars. What's stopping them from getting almost any character? Sonic the Hedgehog could possibly be in here too. Possibly. They could even go as far as getting a DreamWorks character. Maybe, possibly. So that's just a little bit of the guest characters or different things that they can go upon. Y'all can share some of the guest characters that y'all want to see and who you would pick for a guest character if you want to. Now, some other iconic characters that I think will definitely belong as DLC. I didn't want to just settle with just Elastigirl and Mr. Incredible and things like that. I wanted to add in the villain himself. Syndrome could get into the game. Deadpool, I also added. Roger Rabbit can be DLC, a DLC pack, and they can come out with season passes and multiple season passes. It can be just like hundreds of season passes games. This game could go on for years on end. It's just so many different characters that they can add. It can go on and on and on. It can last for years for so many different characters that they can add. And I even went as one of my personal favorites from the Avengers series from Marvel, Ultron. I would love to see Ultron get into this game. Ultron meeting Thanos for unique interactions. It'll be cool. Thanos can meet Ultron. Ultron can meet Venom. You know, what would they say to each other? It's just so much different possibilities with this title. It's so many things that they can do. What's some of the characters that y'all want to see? What's some of the characters that you guys think that they could possibly end up going with? I think Disney can get just about anybody because of their position and what they have. So they can definitely be able to create different crossovers. They can get a Cartoon Network character, maybe someone from Warner Bros., someone from Mortal Kombat. See what's going on with Street Fighter and Tekken? They're already collaborating with each other, and they already got Terry from King of Fighters. They can get a King of Fighters character in this game. They could get somebody from Tekken. Mortal Kombat, they'll have to take the blood out, of course, because it's going to be a family-friendly game. As far as Disney characters and more, they'll have to take the blood out. So they're not going to have blood in a Disney platform fighter. You're not going to be doing no fatalities and nothing like that, or brutalities in this game. But they can make those brutalities and fatalities without the gore itself. They can make those possible just from ultimate ability from the Star Meter. That can be something that could be added into this game to make this even more appealing to the audience itself. This is definitely going to be something that would sell. A lot of people will be interested in this game. I definitely want this game to be real, and I definitely want this game to come to fruition regardless of what it's called, Disney domination or not. I don't believe that title is real, but it could be a new Disney platform fighter. That could be the next step in the next direction. Considering Disney Speedstorm's constant success, they could definitely be able to branch out and make a fighter game of their own. It can start off small like this. Just think about it for a second, just before we close this out. It can start off small like this with this kind of roster. Just think, look at the roster, look at the characters. This is not going to sell. It can start off small like this. If they decide to do a sequel, they don't even need a sequel. It keeps starting over like some other games. It can come out and throw in the towel. It can just continue to grow. It can start off small like this, and it can grow as time goes on, and as the future goes on, it can become bigger. it can start off like this. This is a solid roster. Just looking at the screen, this is a pretty solid roster with different characters that can get into the game. It can start off small, and then it can have DLC, future updates, new modes, bosses, and additional crossovers that can really be able to play with alongside of different modes with team battle and more stocks. And they can come out with their own little modes and mini games. I would like to see that. I really would love to see this game come to a reality. I want this game to be real. But let me know what you guys think of the roster. All the characters are in the description. We went a little bit over 30 minutes, which is completely fine, which is why it's a live premiere, so people could just tune into it live and be able to share their thoughts. I can't wait to see what you guys think. And y'all can chime in the comments if you want to. You don't have to feel like you have to comment or watch everything in full. It's so many characters that this game can have. They can have hundreds of characters to really be able to have one of the biggest platform games or the biggest platform fighting games in history because of how much Disney has control of and how many great characters and iconic, memorable characters from Disney Channel, Marvel, and Star Wars, and so much more can really be able to get into this game to really be able to excite the player. They can definitely have this game just go crazy, and also one more thing I want to mention, it can be crossplay. Crossplay is definitely going to be important, and I definitely know that they're going to do crossplay. Disney Speedstorm has crossplay. They're doing everything right in that game, outside of just paying twice for the battle pass, things like that, and some of the characters coming out pay to win. But this game could be crossplay to really be able to bring the players together, so you don't have to buy a whole nother platform or a whole nother system or a PC or what have you, just to play with your friends from your circle. They won't have to upgrade to a different platform or change and go out and buy another platform and buy the game all over again just to be able to play with the people that they want to play with. With crossplay being in this game and all the great characters that Disney has access to, this is definitely going to be one of the greatest games.